Yo, what up? Peoples. It's early in the morning for me. And I was just up thinking for real. I was doing some research or whatever. So thinking made me back up my thoughts with the research. So I was like, name all the ethnicities for me, right? And this what I got, right? It told me, keep up with me now. It told me white, black, or African American, American Indian, or Alaska Native, Asian, Native Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islanders, and those of two or more races, right? So these oars, right? These oars was throwing me, right? But this right here kind of make me rethink history, right? So it's like white, then it said black, or African American. Then what really grabbed my attention after that was American Indian. So let's say if I did have old blood type, right? American Indians have the old blood type, right? So, but just peep the sayings though. African American, then American Indian. So that's telling me I was I was bred from an African or with an African and an Indian of America, or because it said American Indian or Alaska Native, right? So if I'm an African American, because it said African American and American Indian, it said black or African American, then it said American Indian or Alaska Native. But they classified me as a black or African American. So I'm mixed with a Indian of America or Alaska Native. So, but with African American and American Indian, America is in both of those names. So that's telling me the original people of America are Indians. So that made me think like the Africans come over here on their own and start breeding with the Indians, and then whoever came over and took over and wiped out the Indian race and enslaved the Africans or whatever they however the history try to communicate it to us. But that's crazy to me, right? Because with the Native Americans and the Indians, with them being the original people of America, they also were like we all since they are like basically extinct now, we know how important they really are to the culture. Since they were hijacked for their land, we know how important they are for the culture. They had spiritual practices. If you really want to be spiritual, you have to look up what they done spiritually. So I've been hearing a lot of spiritual stuff, but it's not for me to judge. But I did my own research on that, and I got my own answers for me. But I'm really not going to elaborate on that. It's for me to know. I know how I feel like I'm being spiritually suppressed and oppressed right now. So I do need to make the adjustments, but it's not for everybody to see because the stuff that we claim that are spiritual now, if you really tap in and do it correctly, you will see a lot of people are not as spiritual as they claim to be. They'll start judging or they really can't connect with you spiritually. Really, I've been only been able to tap in spiritually through the Bible. Since that is the book of America, I'm really starting to think that the Native Americans got a whole lot to do with that book. I also know it was indigenous people in Alaska. You know, it's a movie about that. I forgot the name of it when they were showing how they came into Alaska and separated the children from the parents, stuff like that. It's a long movie too. It's one of the ones that kind of like it's kind of painful to watch. Like it'll disrupt you spiritually to watch it if you connect it spiritually. Like if you want to know though what really happened, I gotta reference that movie in another video though. But that old blood is needed. It's definitely needed. You donate it, they will take it like it's liquid gold. But why are and the natives that we have left, they're not all really extinct. They just live in their own tribe, secluded in their own area. And I would probably say the same for Africa if it wasn't, excuse me. Now they say Africa is rich too in some areas, but also in other areas, I guess it's more. And Africans are pretty spiritual as well too, though. I wonder why Africans and Indians are so separated nowadays. If you ask me, I think I do kind of look like both. Just it dawned on me that type of way though. You know, and I think I'm like still pure with just those two, and then I'm more pure with just those two in ethnicity. Not really like mixed in with nothing else. So even though I know I'm not tapped in spiritually right now, the way I would be, or as I should be, cause they want us broken spiritually. They want us to practice it the way that you're really not connected. They have been stripping us of resources that help us tap in spiritually for a long time. The way I see it being used nowadays is for the purpose of generating money. But when they taught us the history, the Indians wasn't really living off the money then. But they tell us now that they own casinos and stuff like that, but one celibacy. I think it's a disconnect to spirits. Sex is sex is a form of spirituality. You share a deep spiritual connection with somebody else. That becomes a part of your personality that allow you to do things. I don't believe in magic, but I would probably prefer mystical. I would take mystical over magic. I mean, but this just this just me though. Me being me. That's all I can be. But I can't tell you. I can't really speak too much. I don't really want to influence nobody to do things that they might can't handle or whatever the case may be. What's really for them, you know? Well, this year I have been stripped from a lot, and I feel it was what you call it, intentional, and that's probably why you've been seeing me break down a lot, cause this the most I've ever been disconnected spiritually. But I know people would love to make what I do about somebody else or whatever the case may be, but it's all about I'm trying to get with the right person so I can get back into my spiritual stuff the right way. Like feed my spiritual needs properly. And hopefully the person I'm with is on the same type of spirituality as me, stemming from my roots. I can't force it. But it was just like a great awakening I had early this morning. I figured I'd document it. Sure. But they worded it for a reason. It's a black or African American. Then it said American Indian. So if I had to, why is American on both of those like that? Why they just ain't call me Indian African? Did they trick us? Why white don't have American behind it? Not trying to be racist or nothing. Why Asian don't have? You know what I'm saying? They see my ethnicity was the only ethnicity that was, because it said when you go down the list, it said and those of two or more races. But isn't African and Indian two different races? So why is mine the one I've been taught to check specifically pointed out and grouped together this way? I think I know why. To keep a veil over my, you know. Me per se, I feel like I'm the first person to hear myself to hear something like this. But history will tell you that they brung us over here and they raped and yada yada yada. That that might not be for all us. Matter of fact, that could be a lie. Cause once you find a small inaccurate detail about something, then you know for a fact it's a lie. How we don't know that it was mixed somewhere else and then came over here and took over? How we don't know it wasn't just a whole solid race of one race that, you know what I'm trying to say, that came over here and dominated or whatever. Then I'm also noticing like why I don't say nothing about the Hispanics on here. Pacific Islanders, I would assume that's like what, Haitian, Jamaican or something. Totally naming all the races and this, and I think this how they, when you do an application, this is how it pops up. Also, so This is how we grouped. I also want to ask, like, uh, African Americans, the only people who really can slip up with that old blood type in them for real. And if it's so valuable to cure diseases or be donated to others to help cure, why is that part of the jealousy that, I mean, you would rather just take out the breed that can help cure the earth just because you can't do it and hurt the people who need it in the process. This is it's a real finicky topic, man. I don't know. But but you know how that go, man. So cause you know it's all they be saying. I don't know, they be going with all different type of narratives now, man. I just think America used to be America, and it used to have Native Americans on it. The most, I almost wanted to say the most ancient, you know, civilization to the civilization that we can see. Man, I think it was mixed with a lot of people. More so than the ethnicity that's probably more mixed. That's the most mixed with a lot of people today. I feel like they did a swap out. One is now extinct, as they taught us in history when they got to go. Now there's one that's living in its place. But I'm out of here. That was just a little video early in the morning. That's a little thought. You know, you have people always, well, I got a little Indian in my blood. Certain people that was just like already African American and just felt special because they could say, I got Indian in my blood. But we all do. We That's just our breed. African Indian. I know some people gonna try to diss on it like, I don't look like no African or whatever. I think if you took both of them and had a baby, it'll look like us. Now, some of us used to claim we were just straight Africans at one time. I'm from the land of Africa. Remember that? Well, part of that statement was right, part of it was wrong. You could have been from the Americas the whole time. For some reason, I feel like I could see that it was Africans already over here with the Native Americans doing spiritualistic stuff. And having spiritualistic sex and breeding us. And in some type of way, we both just got took over. But can we really say that the Native American is extinct if we still here? Is that a way to weaken us spiritually? Not making us believe that if we believe that we extinct, then eventually we will be. Not really having an understanding, like, what come with that title. And it's simple. Could you believe something so simple could confuse? You know how long they looked at us and said we don't even know who we are? It's right in that name. That would be crazy. Or am I crazy? I don't know. I could be tripping. But I'm gone. Take it easy.